I was able to immerse myself into a good month of soaking and understanding and registering and feeling the creature that I am about to teach these actors when they come. I had, weeks of physical preparation, body awareness, and then all the work of dropping the human being so that I have a clean vessel to receive an ape, and they were able to see themselves on the screen once their human body is transformed into an ape, and and they immediately notice that if they stand like a human being, they look like a guy in a costume. It does not work. They don't. It, you can't believe they're an ape.
Hi, this is Shreyas from the New Indian Express. First of all, I wanted to ask you, Ellen, about what was the research process like for coming up with the physical movements of the apes for this film?
Well, I honestly did go through scientific papers. I first started studying the muscular skeletal system of the ape, seeing the differences between apes and human beings, and then started looking at the movement and comparative studies between the walks of the apes, the walks of the humans. And I really took the time to go through all the research that is there, and gratefully, with everything that's online and documentaries and all, I was able to immerse myself into a good month of soaking and understanding and registering and feeling the creature that I am about to teach these actors when they come. And and that process was really beautiful. It's also a process during which I myself experimented in being what I learned, and being able to use my mirror neurons to mimic and to feel what they're going through in the body of an ape, so that when the actors come, I'm able to guide them into uh, integrating and transforming their bodies so in the right way, so that they reach their goal, which is to come to a full simian character, you know, as close as possible to the reality of this movie, you know.
Right, right. And what were your discussions like with director Wes Ball to come up with the movement?
It was interesting, and I get that question a lot. Wes, when we met when I arrived, we had a few phone calls and whatnot, and I know he was really busy, and there was a mutual understanding, I guess, and there was a immediate trust, because in the very beginning he completely let me, you know, do what I do, because this is my craft. And I prepared these actors when they came, and I had weeks of physical preparation, body awareness, and then all the work of dropping the human being so that I have a clean
Hmm.
vessel to receive an ape. And then once a week, I would go and sit down with Wes and talk to him about how things are going. And it was great, fantastic, keep going. And then later in the process, when I had the apes, after 2 weeks, I really had apes. They were, the actors were really good at getting into the physicality of the apes, and their character was starting to come out. Then we invited Wes to come in. And first, I know those other people in the production, the producers came and watched a rehearsal and said, "Whoa, okay, this is really coming along." And eventually Wes came as well and sat down, and we when they came, we would do an improvisation. I would throw an improvisation on whatever situation, and the actors would take it, and all of them were so into it. They really loved the work. They loved being apes. And yes, and Wes was, he was starting to be inspired, and also definitely, I'm sure being reassured that now he had, the right um, resource to work with to create a movie that was whose end product is fully uh, graphics, and this is his
Right.
world. He's a visionary in illustration and in worlds, and I think he was very pleased. with the work. He was happy to have good actors to do this with him.
What are the sort of challenges that you faced in this film, as there are no human characters in it?
You know, this is where my role was really important when we were shooting the film. One of the challenges of the actors, because you know, in the ape, they are apes and their characters are fully blown. But when they're interacting with the director and they get last minute notes and they cancel a part of a text or a dialogue and they have to modify part of the script and then they have to try something new. Um, Sometimes the actor would become human a little bit because it's a safer place to handle the last minute change, you know. And I would have to observe and be able to call it and get the actor's attention and say, be careful, you know, get down a little more because now you're coming out. You're and you know it's interesting because when we did all the motion capture tests in the beginning, when they just had their characters before we started shooting, they were able to see themselves on a screen once their human body is transformed into an ape. And they immediately notice that if they stand like a human being, they look like a guy in a costume. It does not work. They don't you can't believe they're an ape. They're, you know, so they had to be in the right format always and with the right mimic to make it work. And so this, I mean, to me was the greatest challenge because there was so many subtleties in the acting and and sometimes the human actor came out of the ape actor and I had to spot it and give him the note and say, oops, that wasn't right, you know, go back a little bit, you know, change the way you turn your head, be careful you're turning your torso. You know, there's so many details in the attributes of the apes that are different to the human being that you can quickly without even uh
Mhm.
realizing come out of an ape character. You know, even though you're trying to be an ape, but you do a movement that apes don't do, then you know I had to notice that and keep them in line. You know,
Right. Thank you so much, Ellen, for this lovely chat, and all the best for the film.
thank you so much.